Hey fans, friends and family, welcome back to the channel. This week we have our first week's battle of the GE League, which I recently uploaded my draft analysis from, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out bitches. But today we face off week 1 versus none other than TJ and the Slow Bohemians, and this is really exciting for myself because TJ and I go way back because we both started at the same time in the league that was actually run by TJ called PCL. I have a lot of good memories of it, but yeah, we basically are veterans at the game at this point, and we always have such good matches. He hasn't beaten me yet, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm definitely not going to trying to lose to him this time around, but I'm sure he has like super redeemed to get his revenge and get a win over me. And TJ actually drafted a very interesting team, as you guys know or don't know, and I will just tell you guys now. This is a Generation 6 league, so certain Pokemon are a lot better than they are in Generation 7. And a couple of these Pokemons are on TJ's roster. For example, he drafted Talonflame. And Talonflame is like Smogonbird. It was one of the best Pokemons around in Generation 6 because of the ability Gal Wings. It has priority in flying type moves as well. In offensive, was in recovery with Roost, like everything which was a flying type base move got priority. So that was really huge on Talonflame. That ability got nerfed in Generation 7. Also, another poke, Mega Sableye, was much better in Generation 6 because there were a lot, I guess, fewer fairies that can actually deal with it, and also its ability Magic Bounce, it was better in Generation 6 because it also had the Prankster turn 1. But yeah, he drafted the team of. I rambled so much, but it's whatever. Get used to it. I'm a big rambler. Anyways, he drafted the team of Mega Sableye, Talonflame. He drafted Scizor. He drafted Dragonite, which was very cool in my opinion. What else did he draft? Diancie was really nice. Starmie. What else? I don't really remember his roster, but those were the big few months that really caught my eye, and I've mainly focused my preparation around. The first Pokemon I'm going to bring is Maladios, and Maladios is an interesting set. It is a weakness policy set with the Surf and the Draco Meteor. It was kind of designed as a lure to Mega Sableye. It can comfortably live any attack of Mega Sableye, pop my weakness policy, and then I can just go to town with Latios. It's amazing special attack status, really buzz and skyrockets when the weakness policy pops, and yeah, I can just basically KO everything on his team. And I also have the Calm Mind, so if I get the special attack drops after I use Draco Meteor, I can also just boost up myself again. Then I have Choice Banded Mamoswine. It's basically designed to deal with the Mega Sableye. It doesn't really have a good response to Mamoswine. He does have the Scissor, which can kind of help, and he has Mega Sableye itself. Other than that, he does not really have anything at all that deals with it. And also, Mega Sableye deters the hazard, right, with the Magic Bounce ability. Mamoswine kind of forces him in a tough spot because with the Choice Band, I am able to 2-hit KO even a max defensive Sableye. So if he switches in, he can potentially lose his Mega Sableye, and if he doesn't switch it in and saves it and sacks something and then brings it in, he risks the Stealth Rocks going up. So I got that going for me. Also have the Ice Shot priority, which is very nice for the Dragonite and the Breloom. Actually, I didn't mention that before, but yeah, it's really clutch for those months. Then I have a Raikou. It's basically 3 attacks with the Calm Mind. It also is a good solid pivot to Talonflame. You know, it's a flying resist, so gotta have a flying resist on deck. A Raikou will do that just fine this week. Also, its speed tier is really nice. His fastest Pokemon is Starmie. Raikou speed ties with it, but realistically, Starmie is never staying in versus a Raikou because it's just too big of a risk. He can risk minimum damage, and if he loses a speed tie, Raikou basically KOs it always. So yeah, we got that going. Then we have a support Florges. Nothing special. It's basically designed as a switch in to Mega Sableye. I do not have the safest of ways to deal with Mega Sableye, but Florges should do just fine. Not Calm Mind actually, it's Wish Protect, Heal Bell, Moonblast. Just a super standard set. I didn't even bother to run HP Fire on it because like I did not ever see Scizor coming in on Florges, and if it does, I always have a safe pivot in Raikou or Cobalion with the Wish Up, so didn't feel like I needed that. Then I have an offensive supporting Cobalion. Pretty cool tech on it. I actually ran the Metal Burst on it, trying to catch his faster Pokemon with it, and also running the Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet was basically because it also always ensures that Dragonite's multi-skill is broken, and in theory, Cobalion can't really hit a couple of his faster Pokemon like Talonflame. It can't hit it too hard unless I hit my Rock move, but you know, Rock coverage isn't best versus TJ's team. And also with the Dragonite is a really tanky motherfucker, so like Cobalion can't KO that, but I can retaliate back with Metal Burst if he sets up for example. And then last but not least, I have a mixed defensive Milotic. It's basically my Talonflame answer, but it's also my Nidoking answer. Oh yeah, I forgot he has a Nidoking. That was also a big problem. So this was the short Team Builder Insight video. You guys, please let me know if you want a more detailed Team Builder video separately, because I can do that as well, but I figured this will do fine. So let's hop into the battle. So let me review what kind of Pokemon he actually brought to this game. So this is the match, and you see already a few Pokemon popped up. Let me just let the other mons reappear as well. So you see he decided to bring Mega Sableye, Talonflame, Starmie, Nidoking, Diancie, and Breloom. And boy oh boy, I took a huge fucking risk not bringing any specific prep for the Breloom, because I was like, okay, I have a Mega Venusaur, Cobalion, I have Mamoswine, got Latios, you know, got a few good checks on deck. I also had a Golbat, so I was like, Breloom is not gonna come. But when it actually came, it really scared shit out of me. So yeah, naturally, whatever set it is, it's always going to be scary. And for that reason, I decided, okay, I gotta lead Latios, because if it's a Focus Sash lead, or for example a Life Orb mon, and he decides to lead with it, because I really do not deal with it at all, I want to have my Latios out versus it, so I cannot like immediately force it out. And if he does decide on leading with Mega Sableye, which is a very obvious lead, I always have a very safe response in my Florges. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead with my Latios, and he is going to lead with... Well, as you guys can see, he decided to lead with Mega Sableye. Well, obviously, Mega Sableye is a very safe lead, because when it Mega Evolves right now, it has the Magic Bounce ability, which basically means the hazards are not going up, and his Talonflame that he has in the back there is like really supported and can go ham late game potentially, or I think that will be his game plan. I know this Latios set is designed to take out Sableye and surprise it, but I kind of don't want to do it right now. Also, I'm not sure if it will even proc my Weakness Bouncy right now. It's a very safe play on his end to either fake out the Will-O-Wisp, and that's completely what I'm expecting. So I'm like, Florges is always my safest play in this situation, so I'm just going to go do just that. He decides to Mega Evolve, of course, and he wants to Will-O-Wisp. Well, this is fine. Like I told you guys before, I do have the Heal Bell, so it doesn't really hurt me too much anyway, but if I do think I need to get rid of this burn, I have that option. Right now, Florges is out. He has his Mega Sableye up, so he can. A very good play, in my opinion, would be to go to Nidoking on his end and either set up hazards, because he does have the magic bounce ability, so it will be tough for me to get him up, but he can get him up on me. And I'm fully expecting him to go to the Nidoking, and that's why I pull a double myself. I try to bring in my Mamoswine. The worst thing he does is knock off right now, or review. He has Metal Burst himself, and I think like, okay, if he knocks off my Choice Band, that's annoying, but it's not the worst. And if he Metal Burst, I obviously get a very free switch into my Mamoswine. But I'm fully expecting him to swap himself into the Nidoking. So I pull my double into the Mamoswine, as he actually does pull the double into me, which is really nice. So in my opinion, I'm in, right? Even though a Nidoking is faster, if it packs the right coverage, like Focus Blast or Superpower or something, it can potentially really hurt my Mamoswine. But I severely doubt he'll stay in right here, because an Ice Shard will do a fuck ton as well. And like basically, whatever stat move I click, something is gonna drop. And as you guys will see, I just clicked the EQ, and like I told you guys before, his Mega Sableye, his best response to my Mamoswine, and now that's an easy 2-hit KO, as you guys can see there. So this means that the next time Mega Sableye, next time my Mamoswine is in, Mega Sableye ain't a free swap in anymore, and he has to choose: do I let hazards go up, or do I sack my Mega Sableye to Mamoswine at this point? TJ is a very crazy guy. He has a very unorthodox way of prepping, so he really invests his pokes in a way that they are a lot bulkier than usual, or they're just like really fast, or just wacky shit. And from this damage, I'm sure he runs a calc. He knows, okay, this is Choice Banded Mamoswine. I have a free swap into my Talonflame. Obviously, I can't let him get momentum like that, so I'm going to pull a double myself. I'm going into my Milotic. Like, worst case scenario, he wants to Will-O-Wisp me, and my Marvel skill gets activated, so I get a little bit bulkier. And if he does decide to go into Talonflame, it really is in an awkward position, because it can really damage my Milotic that well. And if he wants to U-turn, he risks it, and go into Breloom, he risks it getting burned by a Scald, so it's kind of a tough spot for him. So I have a very free Scald, but what I decided to do is make a double into my Raikou, because if he for some reason wants to attack or anticipates me to overpredict and switch out expecting a Breloom, or for some reason I cover the Talonflame still, if he wants to go back to Mega Sableye on my Milotic and try to recover up, I have my Raikou in now, which will damage him a lot harder. If he goes into Starmie, which is also a potential play that he can try and abuse my Milotic with, I also have my Raikou out versus that. And even if he does end up going to the Breloom, which is also a very real possibility, Raikou should be able to at least damage it very much, to the point that Breloom ain't that big of a threat anymore. So I felt like Raikou covered all my options, and as he actually decided to go for a U-turn. And this damage tells me, okay, this is a Choice Banded Talonflame, which is good and bad at the same time, because the bad part is it hits a lot harder, so Raikou is not able to check it that well, because if he clicks his other step, Fire move, Raikou will take a fuck ton of damage. And also it being banded and not having to set up basically makes my Haze Milotic less useful. I could have run another move, and the immediate damage that I can't haze off just really hurts Milotic, especially considering I'm not max defensive, I'm mixed defense. Well, speaking of Milotic, that's my best play here. I need to go to Milotic. psych, I go to Latios, psych myself as well. I was expecting a ground move on his end, and Latios lost an immunity to that. And even if he does make a good prediction and hit Latios with a super effective move, my Latios is pretty bulky, pretty tanky this week because it needed to take a super effective hit from the Mega Sableye, which has stab on me. But even unstab pokes like Nidoking can really damage me, and it will proc my weakness policy. And at this point I feel safe. Had Latios potentially been hit and be at +2 special attack right now, I claim a kill right away because he doesn't have swapping as well. Even specially defensive Diancie will easily be two-shotted by his Surf. My Surf is by far my best play right now. So kind of get surprised by one of his sets. He is Substitute Nidoking. I'm not sure what it was for, but it was a very good bring. I think it was to gain momentum on my Florges or scout for a psychic move on Florges. So it was a very good, cool tag on his end. And my Latios is in versus Nidoking, but I don't want to take a super effective hit right now when it's behind the sub. I didn't feel comfortable to that just yet, and I would risk a lot of damage on my Latios, and I can still potentially use that later on to take Breloom better. So I was like, if it's a subset, I think it's easier checked by Melodic. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going into my Melodic and see what kind of coverage moves he has as well. He does have the Ice Beam. So that's cool. Melodic can basically swap in for free and I can easily break its up. He wants to scout out my investment, and of course I have that proper investment, so he can't 2-hit KO me, especially not with the leftover. So this Nidoking is forced out and he will go into his Starmie. Well, like I said, Starmie is a good switch into my Melodic, and I can't really let him take too much momentum off of it. I didn't want to risk Raikou as well because Melodic had taken a hit, and if Raikou also died, Talonflame was really free versus my team. So I felt like Latios was the best overall mid-ground play. And Latios versus Starmie, like, I know Starmie is faster, but its stabs are resisted by Latios, and also if it does pack a super effective move, I can get rid of it right now. I collected Draco Meteor here. He actually reveals Thunder Wave, which was really surprising. And the saddest part is I actually get fully paralyzed as well, so I can't even get a hit off on this Pokemon. So my Latios is really slow right now, and this is some kind of really weird utility Starmie, which I didn't expect. I fully expected like a Specs or a Life Orb attacking variant of Starmie. But he shows Thunder Wave, so okay, I was like, not the best to have Latios paralyzed, but you know, I'll take it. I can always heal Bell off later with Florges. And I felt like, okay, I'm not +2 yet because he didn't hit me with a super effective move. Diancie is by far the Pokemon he can take advantage on me on this Latios, especially when it's paralyzed the most. So it's like, okay, I need to cover that switch, and I go to Mamoswine. And Mamoswine is again inside, as we call it. He basically has to sack a Pokemon too, and I actually decided to go for the 3 Ice move because I was like, if he's going to Cheeky Talonflame, it will also drop, or at least taken over half of its HP. But he decides to sack his Mega Sableye, which is great because now I do have the option to set rocks later and really pressure that Talonflame. He brings in his Starmie, and I was like, this is probably his second best answer to Mamoswine because it not only outspeeds and potentially kills me, it can also be a fat utility Starmie, which kinda helps with Mamoswine. Obviously I'm locked into an Ice move, so I'm scared out anyway, and I didn't want to go into Melodic because Melodic was it was a bit low on HP still because of that Nidoking before. So I go into my Florges and I felt like, okay, this is a good opportunity to try and get a heal bell off and basically make Latios in a prime condition to sweep again. But he actually makes I don't really want to call it a prediction. He makes a very safe play in side shocking, and Floyd's special defense is like out of the roof, but its defense is not that amazing. Also, he actually shows to be a life orb set on this Starmie, basically telling me this is not a utility set. So I saw Thunderwave, I saw Psyshock. I know something like Hydro Pump is probably coming my way, and last move probably Thunderbolt for my Melodic, because otherwise it can't do too much, or it has Recover or Rapid Spin. So like, it's a weird Starmie for sure, but not really sure what it is. But all I know is like at this point it forces a kill on me, and I need to let Florges go because Mega Sableye is already out. That was why Florges was here. Sad I couldn't get off a heal bell, but Latios, even when paralyzed, is still very valuable. So I was like, okay, Florges is the most expendable. It has to go right now. What I'm going to do here is go into Cobalion, and this might look like a weird play because Starmie is like a very good check to the Cobalion, but he doesn't know what kind of set I am. Like, he is in the position that like he can't even scout really he can't really scout for anything, because this is probably his best response left since Mega Sableye died. And if he swaps out, and I do happen to be a supportive set with Stealth Rocks, this Talonflame is really precious, and if he carries the Rapid Spin, he wants to stay in and Rapid Spin the rocks away. So basically, long story short, I really let him know that I'm going to set rocks here, and he either has to accept that or make an offensive switch himself or damage me. But I think by far, considering how well Starmie handles a Cobalion, he will just attack me, and I will abuse that fact, and I will click Metal Burst and basically counter this Starmie completely and get it out of the game. So that's really nice. So at this point we're up 5-4, which was nice. His fastest Pokemon is eliminated, his Hazard Deter and most defensive Pokemon is eliminated. And I have my Cobalion out, and it does carry the Volt Switch, so I am able to pivot, considering depending on what poke he brings in. He brings in Breloom. I just clicked the HP Fire, which I was carrying for the Scizor. It was also meant to be a Scizor check. And I was like, it doesn't really matter if this Breloom kills me at this point, because with the Rocky Helmet, like, let's say it is Breloom with a Focus Sash, I am in range of a Mach Punch, or an Adamant Mach Punch, that is. And if he kills Cobalion, I have the Rocky Helmet, and I do kill. I don't kill it, but I break his Focus Sash, which makes Mamoswine always a Revenger to it. He actually makes a double into Diancie. Don't know what his play was, but he probably had a good reason for it. But yeah, Diancie versus Cobalion is always a losing situation for Diancie, even though I'm not even carrying a Steel move. He doesn't know that. So he switches back, he switches out, and he switches into this Talonflame, probably expecting a Steel move. I have my Mamoswine in right now, and Mamoswine is like always a huge threat to him, so he basically has to attack me, right? But I didn't really want to risk my health Mamoswine just yet. I could use it later on, potentially take one Mach Punch from the Breloom from full, so and that wouldn't be an option for him to revenge me. So I switch out and go into my Cobalion, especially since I know this is an offensive choice bandit variant. If he does click a Brave Bird right here, he takes a lot of recoil plus Rocky Helmet damage. And if he wants to predict me switching out, he also gets chipped away by the Rocky Helmet on his Talonflame, which is also a good thing. So basically no drawback play. Now this Nidoking is in again, and I'm like, fuck. This is an annoying poke. I am able to break his sub with my Focus Blast, but I can't really take this on 1v1, so I basically had to let my Cobalion go because it's my least expendable Pokemon, also on the lowest amount of health. And once I sack my Cobalion, I can bring in my Milotic and recover up again, and basically be guarded versus the Talonflame, the Diancie, and the Nidoking as well. So that's my play. I stay in here, try to Focus Blast. I know it's not super effective, but I know it is able to break his subs, so I want to show him that I am able to break subs. And he is going to make an over prediction and Sludge Wave me, probably expecting me to go into Latios, and he wants to hit it for a 2-hit KO, especially since I'm paralyzed. I'm not the best of responses anymore to his Latios, but I stayed in. I know I was like, okay, after a hidden power, he's not able to sub anymore, and it's a 100% accurate move, so I don't risk missing. So HP Fire was my play, in my opinion. And he shows that he is not a Choice Scarf variant, so he was able to switch up his moves. We saw that before actually as well, so that's a very, very unnecessary comment on my end, but hey, who gives a fuck? So he kills off my Cobalion at this point, and like I told you guys, I needed to recover my Milotic up to a higher amount of health, but I actually decided to go into Raikou because that delivered more offensive pressure, because if I went Milotic and recovered up again, I basically invited Breloom, and like I told you guys from the beginning, Breloom is a huge threat to my team because I didn't prep for it at all. So I went into Raikou because with HPIs I killed his Nidoking. With Calm Mind, I am able to 1v1 most Diancies, or I'm able to chip it down, so Latios can sweep later on. Or if he goes Breloom after, I also have the HPIs for that Pokemon, so felt like it was a very strong play. Nidoking is out, so that's great. No wall breaking on his hand anymore, and he does bring in the Breloom right now. So I was like, okay, I 100% need to break his sash. I know it sucks losing Raikou, but I still have Milotic in the back to take on Talonflame, and to be honest with you, with Talonflame, Brave Birds a couple of times, it is not able to one-hit KO Mamoswine from full. And with Ice Shard, I do have a nice priority in the back to deal with either Breloom, Diancie, or the Talonflame. So I felt like it's not the worst to lose Raikou at this point. So just attack him, and he actually shows to be a Yachi Berry. Probably so he thought that my way of dealing with the Breloom would only be Ice Shard Mamoswine. He was kind of right in that sense, but I do have faster pokes as well, like Latios and Raikou, so it wasn't only Ice Carpets, but Yachi was a good bring on his end, and we popped that with Raikou, which was really nice. So Ice Shard is definitely picking up Breloom, and he decided to not kill me actually and set up, so it was like really scary, because with the Mach Punch he really threatens a lot on my team, and especially considering Latios is paralyzed right now, Breloom also has the potential to KO Latios as well, so which sucks. Yeah, he kills the Raikou, and that's a nice for him. I bringing my Mamoswine, basically showing, yo, bro, I have the Ice Shards, switch out. By clicking Ice Shards, I also chip away on the Talonflame very largely, but I don't quite kill it, and well, it is not worth it for him to make that exchange. And if he wants to go into Diancie, he can comfortably live to Ice Shards. So I was like, he's definitely going to make a double into either. I felt like he wasn't risking Breloom because it's his best Pokemon versus my team. So I was like, he either goes in Talonflame, which doesn't make much sense, or he goes into Diancie, which is okay. But yeah, I doubled out with my Mamoswine because I expected him to switch on his end. But he actually stayed in and Mach Punch, so I was like, fuck. Now my Latios is also severely weakened, and I potentially lose Latios, which definitely could have been helpful still versus the Talonflame and the Diancie, especially considering I carry the serve with the weakness policy. But hey, it is what it is, so kind of had to sack my Latios to the Braylon right now. He shows to have Rock Tomb as his coverage, so Golbat wouldn't be too helpful versus that as well, but I think we dodged the bullet there. Rock Tomb was a great bring versus the Golbat, but like if we went Mega Venusaur, Braylon would still have been useless. So like, I don't know, I still kind of disagree on the Braylon bring, but in this case it worked out phenomenally for him. So yeah, this time I have no other play. I have to go for the Ice Shard, and he's willing to sack his Braylon apparently. So I was like, okay, nice. Braylon is out of the park. He brings us his Talonflame, and I was like, okay, I need my Melodic still to be able to deal with both of these guys. And since this Pokemon is Choice Banded and not setup variant or bulky setup variant, I cannot go into Melodic right now because it will be a 2-hit KO. So I felt like my best play is to stay in with Mamoswine and Ice Shard, because he takes a lot of recoil, and Choice Banded Ice Shard might actually pick up the KO. Which it didn't, but you know, that sucked. And at this point I was like, okay, I can save differential very easily. He's Choice Banded, so he can't switch up moves, and Melodic can definitely take one hit, and I should be able to outspeed a Diancie and 1v1 that poke any day of the week. So like, I do live it, but barely, apparently. I thought I would take it better, but I think he was an Adamant Talonflame. And yeah, well, Melodic is basically just gonna recover up versus this Diancie and win the game. Yeah, what I do want to say is that I really skipped turns and decided to spam recover after I Toxic it here, because I wasn't sure what kind of Diancie it is. It's TJ we're talking about. He's a very crafty and creative guy, so I was like, what if he is some kind of weird weakness policy set, or rock polish sets, or trick room set? I don't know. I was like, okay, safest play for me is to just recover. He can't kill me for sure, and the Toxic will slowly whittle him down. That's just the last couple of turns going to be, and then I finally click Scald and end the game. So we win 2-0. Very happy about this win, still keeping the strong record versus TJ, and it's a nice week 1 win. Yeah, please leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll catch you guys next time.